And what's up?
This meeting is being recorded.
Jasmine, what's up?
Let me speak. Hold on. Hey, what's up?
How are you doing today?
Happy. I'm fantastic, actually. I, my appointment that I told you I got in Toronto for this large company. We tied down a day to meet.
So,
old is she? Three. Three?
She just turned 3 last week.
Oh, it's your baby?
Yeah, my little
How
baby.
about who's
Yeah.
baby?
Yeah.
And
Huh?
yours.
Yeah, I mean,
Because I
she
heard
has
Angela
she has
talking
a
was her
mama.
baby too.
She definitely has a mama.
Huh?
I mean, she has a mama, but this is not Laura.
That is awesome. Look at that. She looks
Thank you.
pretty. What's
Gracias.
daddy gonna do later on? He's got to pull out the shotgun. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you speaking on the phone today? You guest speaker today?
No, ¿tú trabajas conmigo hoy?
No.
Okay. Okay.
No?
Necesito regresar en Canadian porque necesita siga amiguitas. Okay. Yo le quiero diga a Tia.
Ciao.
Bye.
Besos, bye.
How's the baby? How's the birthday boy in the weekend? When was Thursday?
Sí, Canadian. Yeah, his birthday was last week. Yo no sé. Okay, give me one moment.
No worries. So Pool just turned 8, and
Yeah.
his party's last week.
Yeah. And
And Amaya just turned 3 a few weeks ago.
so, okay, sir, I'm talking. Are you the mother of the kids?
No, I'm definitely not.
I'm a little confused.
I can understand how that's confusing. No, no.
Yeah.
No, I'm in Colombia in days, nothing of that.
Fine. Like people.
It's like,
Here. Something I was because that I communicated and by the time I did pitching and I did some, whatever, and then I went I believe I wasn't that early. But as of Wednesday, I'm road traveling. But I get pictures in. So if I could tell you guys Merry Christmas tomorrow, I'm telling you now. Yeah, I don't know what I'm to say. I don't know, because obviously she's very nosy. She has to see what I'm doing behind closed door all the time. I tell these should be off. So stop it. Not where you enter. Hi everyone. Shut up now.
I just about how you think great have a plan on how you continue to work in this season. Because I'm spending myself where you say, oh, we're not doing it. These are no, you have to really want to make anything different. You go in the middle of the week. So that's not to you. I'm wonderful. Thank you. We see y'all are doing this. Any questions?
I think I only I have answered and then done on my account.
Okay, so you're definitely in your account. You enjoy.
The action-oriented group here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I have scheduled several emails to go. I talked to Ron about it yesterday. But this morning I got up, it was all scheduled to go, and I have a list of undeliverable, system fail, email not confirmed, so I'm like, I'm a little like, I'm doing all this work and then I get these answers that are like disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we doing? What are we doing about that? What are we doing about that? And how do we fix that?
Sure. So part of that's happening, it's part of having the amount of data that we have. And when you pitch in volume, there are going to be some where we send it through a validation system before it sends, and that's why they're coming up invalid. But you can mark those as invalid.
So no, what I have, it says mail delivery subsystem, address not found, like several of them, literally. And then I get at 8 a.m. we wanted to inform you about an issue regarding your email schedule, and if there's been a problem with the connection of sending email account, which is my account. Mm-hmm. So now they, go to Speaker Pro Hub again to connect. So what to do?
We're gonna wait for Ron to get back for that one. That's very technical. There's a technical answer to that, and I'm sorry, I don't have the answer to why that occurs, but Ron definitely.
Yeah, I said, if you see me on the leaderboard, I am number one. I cannot believe it. It's the first time I've ever been number one. But
Incredible.
but here's the thing: if I don't know how many of these speeches actually went through that. I mean, I sent them, but I don't know where they are and if they reached even their destination. So
if it's so you're saying even when it hits send, when it says sent and the ones that are in your sent on your mailbox, you're concerned that it actually didn't go out.
Or it went out, but it did not reach the destination of where it's supposed to be. Like there's an email failure, there's disconnect, things like that.
Here's how you can tell. When you're in your actual email account, if you're connected through Gmail, is your email in Gmail?
Yeah.
Okay, you can go to your sent mailbox and you can see all the ones that were sent and that landed. So this is for everyone. All of the emails that we send, you can see them in your sent in the same way that you can reply when they're in your inbox. So that should relieve that concern. And we'll figure out the tech side out. I'll make sure that Ron, someone from our team, answers the question around the scheduling and the invalid.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. And so I also had another question, but I don't want to, maybe somebody else has a question. I don't want to.
That's why we're here. Someone else may have the same question that you have, so it's okay.
Okay. I just added the media into our signature. I learned how to create a playlist on YouTube with selected videos but my question is, can I add into the playlist on YouTube interviews that are on someone else's platform? Like I was interviewed to a podcast or either a YouTube, or it's either on YouTube or not on YouTube or on Vimeo or whatever. Can I put them as my playlist? That, I think that Ron was talking to me about it when we just conversed, he and I, and it was like brilliant. I created the playlist because of his idea, which is like smart. I didn't even pay attention that there is a media link that we can actually connect. So now I have it. The question is, can I use my appearances on other people's podcasts, either visually or auditory, into that link?
So you're asking a YouTube question. This isn't specifically about Speaker Hub Pro. You're asking, can you save a video to your playlist on YouTube?
Correct.
And add all of your interviews to that.
Yeah, I guess it is not as connected to Speaker Hub, but more connected to, I guess, YouTube. But I just created the playlist so I can insert it to Speaker Hub, which is Ron's brilliant idea that I did not even know existed.
So do you currently have a YouTube channel that you put the videos that you wanted in a particular playlist?
Yeah, like I can share the screen and show you what I mean. Yeah, okay. So let me like open this up. Excuse me, everybody, for a mess in my I have so many windows open, but bear with me on this. So this is my YouTube channel that I've created okay, whatever, right now, close. So I put 10 videos on the playlist for Speaker Hub specifically. Oh, here is Ron. Hi, Ron.
Perfect. Hey, Ron. Perfect timing.
I did what you suggested. I'm a good student. I'm like, I'm going to do it. So I created, now the question was, I have all these other appearances in other people's podcasts or video interviews that are on Vimeo, but can I add them? Because yesterday you were saying something, I could choose them into my playlist. Well, I went there and there was no button to say add to Doris's playlist.
Yeah, so with Vimeo is a different system. So the equivalent would be if you were on Instagram and you wanted to send somebody a message on Twitter, it doesn't work. Just because they're friends with you on Instagram don't mean that they will be your friends on Twitter, because they're two different platforms. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
YouTube and Vimeo are two different places, but I think 10 is enough. If the person can't decide if they want you after watching 10 videos, I think
I know.
they
I
probably
was
not
just
gonna
like,
pick you.
yes, I was like playing with the idea. Do I want them to listen to a podcast? Do I want them to listen to see me in action on a stage? You know, I thought I should create two different lists, one that I send for podcasting and one that I send for conferences and speakers. So I was
Yeah,
going
I think so. Here's what I would say. I would say the speaking thing is probably more impactful than the podcast. So I would use that for both because I think that a podcaster would want a speaker that is done, that has the background that you have to come on their show. You know, more than just because you're a good speaker, you will probably be a decent podcast interview. But because you're a great podcast interview, don't mean you're going to be a great speaker because
good
those
point.
are two different audiences, right?
Good
So
point.
I would, you have a list of 10, I would just put 5 and 5 and
Yeah.
let them decide. I wouldn't complicate it.
Okay, just and out of curiosity, can I move the order of the list, or is it by the way I chose them? That's how they go in. Can I move which
Yeah,
one
I
is
mean,
one
with
second,
with
third?
YouTube, you can change the order of how you want things. I'm just not a YouTube specialist, but I'm sure there's a way to do it.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah. Well, you told me to even create a playlist. Like that was brilliant.
yeah, I mean, I know how to do the basics. So all of the more specific
Hey.
things.
I love basics, you know. So can you answer the question about the email? I was working last night and I scheduled a lot to go. And if you look at the board, which I'm very competitive, you know, I'm like number one, you know. But, you know, some of them, I got an email, mail, you know, failure delivery, whatever. So what do we do about that?
Were those associations that you're getting those from or from conferences?
I can tell you,
Because
well, I
I
don't.
think we have some issues with the associations, but I'm not sure. But we'll check that.
Okay, hold on, I'll tell you. I'm looking at my email because I mailed.
But your ability to send shouldn't have an issue with your numbers on the leaderboard. The leaderboard starts over at 7 p.m. Eastern time every day. I mean, every Sunday.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't care about the leader, bro. I'm just kidding
okay,
about that. You know,
gotcha.
I don't care. To me, I don't care where I am as long as I get back a reply and I book myself. I don't
Yep.
really care. I was just being funny.
Okay.
But you know, here I see I'm looking at all the mail delivery situation. No, it's not association. It's Workforce Professional Development Summit. And then there is
Okay.
another one that is called Ideas for Central Cherry Conference.
Yep. So you're going to probably end up with 3 to 5% of what we call bounces. So the email validation software that we use has anywhere from 95 to 98% accuracy. Industry wide, it's 3 to 5% is going to make it through one of those validation services. So basically, before you send the email, we run it through a company called Emailable to validate if it's a valid email or not. And we kick the email out if it's anything below 80% certainty. And the reason why we have to keep it at 80% is because some companies like Speaker Hub, you can send an email to anything at Speaker Hub and we'll catch that email. It's called a catch-all, right? So that we don't, if someone types in admin, but it's really support, we want to still get that email, right? So we still have to leave that 80% certainty open, which leaves a little bit of opportunity for anywhere from 2 to 5% of the emails to still end up bouncing. But we give you those credits back. So all you have to do is go in and mark it as invalid. That takes it out of the system for everyone else. And it gives you credits back to your account.
So I go to, I just want to make sure that how do I find it and
Yep, click on, once you find it, click on follow up and then you'll see status update. And you click on status
I'm going to
update.
go into sent, right? In my mailbox into sent. Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm literally going to do it right now to see how to do that. So this one is called Workforce Professional Development Summit. So I'm going to copy that, put it in here, and then see and then
Once you click on follow up, you're going to
Mhm.
see a thing that says update status
Yeah.
over on the right, and then mark invalid.
There's,
Report invalid.
there's, yeah, oh, report as invalid, okay. Send report. Okay. All right, and then I could click it and then delete it from my list?
No, once you report it invalid, it's going to move it automatically.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I have archives 19 as of now, so I'll just keep on doing that.
Yep.
Okay,
And we go through those and we try to find the right email address, or we just remove it from the data set altogether.
okay. Well, I'm going to keep on working. I have an hour a day to knock as many of these as possible. So here's my hour.
Oh, 100%. So there's a great book that I love called it's by a guy named Darren Hardy, right? And it's called the Compound Effect. I think that's the name of it. And
Yeah.
the Compound Effect talks about what happens if you get 1% better each day, right? For a year. And what do you think the total overall result is of a 1% increase every day? Anyone want to guess?
I don't know. I'm so bad in math. Are we talking
Okay.
like, I don't know. I mean, one compounded, if every 7 years our savings can be doubled, so that in a year, that for 1% could be what? I don't know, 20, 30, I have no idea. What could it be? You tell
Yeah,
us.
so I'm
Tell
gonna
us the
share.
answer. Tell us the
I'm
answer.
going to share it with you. 1 second. I'm going to pull up the actual calculation, right? So here's the actual thing, so you can see it. So if you got 1% worse every day, you would only lose 3% of your ability, right?
In a
But
day.
if you get, huh?
In a day, you mean? Or over?
Every day for a year,
Oh, okay.
you would only lose 3% of your ability, right? But if you got 1% worse,
I mean, better.
1% better every day, you would 38x your outcomes, right? Now, what's the chance of someone getting 31% better? It's very small. But the idea behind it is the momentum. It's hard to stop the momentum of whatever you're working on. And it's like going to the gym. If I go to the gym every day and I do 10 push-ups, it's impossible that I won't get stronger over a year's time, right?
That's right.
The problem that I found, and this isn't any accusation of anyone who's watching this, this is just my watching of business and working with entrepreneurs for the last 20 years, is that a lot of us quit when it gets hard, right? But the quote from Muhammad Ali basically says, they asked him, they said, how many sit-ups do you do per day? And he says, I don't start counting until it starts hurting. Because those are the ones that actually make the difference, right? And a lot of us, I was watching a video of one of my friends today, and he says, I've tried a lot of things. That's why I can make you better. And I'm listening to him, and I'm like, yeah, but every time it got hard on all those things, you quit. And the thing that you're working on right now, you're not doing very well at. So why would anybody listen to you? That's what I'm thinking in my mind. I'm like you quit on the last thing, right? And the pride nowadays is I shut down my business to do something else. Nobody shuts down a business that's making money to go try something new. No, you would keep that going. You're not going to shut, if it's really making profitable money, you're not shutting it down. I don't care what you say. BS, that's a sellable asset. So you're willing to just have your money decline so you can take a chance and struggle at something else? No, the thing wasn't doing well, but we don't want to talk about it. So,
or just because I don't know your friend and because I do my talks, maybe they were just tired of this and want to do something else. And let's give them the benefit of the
He's lying
doubt.
because he came to me for help. He's lying.
Here's the thing. I think what you're talking about is being accountable over time. and having a reputation that shows that you're in it to not only win it, but also to impact other people. And you can't do it when you jump from this party to that party. That's what I think what you're talking about. You know,
Yeah, well, I'm
I
talking
don't know
about,
your friend,
no,
and I don't want to
This
know
isn't
this
about him.
name.
This is just about overall.
Yeah.
We break our promises to ourselves, right? So we're going to all set goals for 2025, and the gym memberships know that you ain't coming after February. It's going to be packed the first 2 weeks of January, and then February you're stuck in a contract for the next 13 months.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's the same thing. Oh, I want to do this. We're going to get to this number. Right.
You know, Ron,
So,
we call it grit. You got to have that grit in you and that persistence and that fire inside your belly to do the thing that you want to do.
but
You know,
I can define it a bit better than that because it's hard. Grits come in a box. They're made by Quaker. Right. I'm talking about something we can clearly define. We can clearly define that we hate doing boring things. Right. We love to solve a new problem as the entrepreneur. So once we solve the one problem, we go do something else. One of my buddies, and this is years ago, so I use stories that are real because those are the stories that I know. And I'm not being judgmental. I'm just as guilty. But we can notice the errors in other people faster than we notice our own. So I talk about it from what I've observed, right? So here's what we know. I was watching. I was working at North Oyster Mutual. So this is years ago, and one guy, he had a great week, and he's making all of his phone calls, and he made so much sales, right? And then a week later, we come back to the meeting, and he didn't do what he said he was like. He didn't hit any of the goals the next week, and they asked him. He said, "Well, what happened?" And he says, "Well, what I did, I know I had my best week, but I figured out some things I needed to fix." And he said, "Wait a minute, what? Well, nothing was wrong with what you were doing, right?" But he had already solved the riddle, so he wanted to solve a new riddle because that's where the dopamine comes in. There's no dopamine in just pitching every day, right? Nobody's patting you on the back. Nobody's saying, "Man, you sent those 20 pitches, Doris." Nobody's giving you a high five for that because that's
I'm
the
giving
boring.
myself a high five,
I
like you.
understand, but everybody is a Jew. And so there are these dopamine things that we need to keep us going on a daily basis to do the boring work, right? So let me give you a great example. AJ played D1 football. Angela played D1 professional basketball. Bart is in the military. Those three individuals had accountability. If Bart didn't show up to do his rucks every day, there's consequences in the military. If Ange didn't show up to practice, there's consequences on the professional basketball teams. If AJ didn't show up to do whatever he needed to do, his scholarship would have been taken. But there's no consequence to the entrepreneur that works by themselves when we don't do what we need to do on a daily basis. Nobody is out there judging us or telling us, get your behind back into it. So the question was, what happened? Was it working too well? Right? It was like, whatever you were doing worked so well, you quit. And that's what we run into on a regular basis is we just have to stick to it and say, this is my discipline. This is what I do. And everybody that we work with on a done for you basis has gotten more meetings than anyone else. Why? Because we're held accountable. They're good. They're better at holding us accountable than holding themselves accountable. Because when their 500 pitches doesn't go out from us, hey, what happened? I saw the email stop. Well, wait a minute. You weren't even on yourself this much. Why are you on us about it? Right? So they get the responses. But you know what happens? Here's what we found out. We stopped taking clients that have never pitched for themselves because they didn't have the empathy for the work we were doing. Oh, yeah, I got responses, but these weren't the right ones. Okay, well, show me the ones you got before us. Well, I didn't get any. Okay, so how do you even know which ones are the right ones? So we stopped taking on done for you clients that hadn't pitched for themselves because they didn't have the empathy for the work that was being done, right? So what we've learned, two things that we've learned, and this isn't me on my soapbox, it's basically saying it's going to get boring, and we know it's going to get boring. But the winners keep going when it's boring. And the way that you do it is if I get bored doing 10 push-ups, I probably should up it to 20. And when I get bored doing 20, I probably should up it to 30. So when you get bored sending 10 pitches, try sending 20 a day.
Hey, listen, I'm sending a lot. I'm number one on the leaderboard today. So hello.
I know, I'm not, this
Hello.
isn't about Doris.
Hello. I know. Okay, now I love you, but I'm going to go because I have more pitches to send before I have my 10 o'clock here happening.
Perfect.
So
There it is. Good
I'll
to
see you
you.
tomorrow or when I have a problem.
Yep. All righty. Talk to you later, Doris. So,
Okay,
but
bye.
we have to keep doing the boring work, guys.
I'm doing it. I am doing it. Bring
Doris,
me the bacon.
we're not talking about you, Doris.
I know, but I'm telling you. Okay, bye. Bye, Angela. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Right? So, yeah, just continue to do the boring work and raising the bar, right? Pitching is the one thing where you can condense time, right? Let me give you a great example. Time is your most valuable asset. So if my goal this year was to pitch 2,000 stages, would I be better off pitching 130 a month? Or what is it? What's 2,000? 166 a month, right? Over 12 months and waiting to see what happens? Or would I be better off if I said, you know what, I'm going to send 1,000 a month for the next 2 months and see what happens? The best thing is to send the ones as fast as possible so that I can make adjustments and I can get my results faster. So pitching is the thing where you can condense time. You're not limited to just sending 100 a month. You can condense that time down to sending as many as you want. You're not limited by our system. We'll allow you to buy as many pitches as you want. And I think that that's the mentality that the winners have. They're going to go, right? But Melissa, question, comments, concerns?
Yeah, I did a bunch of pitches and a whole slew of follow-ups yesterday, and this morning at 8 a.m. when all my follow-ups were scheduled to go out, I got a whole slew of automated emails from Speaker Hub Pro saying, hello, we wanted to inform you about an issue regarding your email schedules in Speaker Hub Pro. There's been a problem with the connection of your sending account causing this.
Can you forward that to us?
Yeah, and I got every single one of my follow-up emails got one of these. So
okay, yeah. If you can forward that to us, we'll just send it to some support at Speaker Hub.
Okay.
And
yeah, I'm sad.
We'll get that fixed. Yeah, so I'll get Miguel and guys to look at that to see why that's happening. I think that's a similar thing that Doris was just talking about, but we didn't, since she hadn't sent that many, she didn't get that error on so many. It may be a system-wide bug. We'll find out what that is though.
Do I need to disconnect my email and reconnect it?
No, you should be fine. No, it would show you that. So, but here's what may have happened. And this is something that we had to do for security reasons, which is every hour the system logs you out, right? So if you're inactive for an hour, it will log you out. But we can't close your browser. Does that make sense? So we can't close the browser window. If you're like me, I got 50 browser windows open. So when I come back to something, I go back to what I already had open, but that in the background, it's been logged out. So you may have programmed things that never were scheduled, but forward us the email, we'll look at it. But just be sure that anytime that you're logging in to use the system, that you log in fresh every time. That's the best advice, is to log in fresh each time that you log into it.
I think I do. I mean, the tab might be open, but I still have to log in each time.
Okay, yeah, just want to make sure. I'm just saying in general for everyone.
Yeah.
Just be sure to log in because the security setting is set to after 1 hour of inactivity to log you out, right? But sometimes your browser will keep the screen up and you will be doing things, but it's not recording in our system, right? But that's just there. We'll take a look at that and see what the issue is. Melissa, thanks for letting us know.
Okay.
Any other questions about anything, guys? So far? No? So a couple of things that are updates to as we go into the last couple of weeks before the holidays. So I finally made a decision on the community system and the system that we're going to use to host and to do a lot of the accountability. I was trying to make a decision between, we were already on ClickFunnels, we were moving over to Go High Level, we have a school account. And I'm like, dude, like we got to find a place we want to be. If this is going to be where people are going to come for their accountability systems, we need to find a place that we know we're going to be using. So I finally made a decision on that. So you all should be getting the orientation email this week for sure. But that was the infrastructure problem on my side. It's not a content issue. All the content is done. It's just where do we want to host so that we don't give you all 17 different passwords to have to log in and do all these other things. So you'll be getting the information about that very soon. Now that I've finally made a decision on the platform that we're going to use. The platform that we're going to use is really cool because it is, imagine taking a Facebook group and attaching Netflix to it. And it has both of those features where you can have this course library from like the videos from our summits and all the other things, but it's not a course. It's just you watch it like you watch it on Netflix. But then on the other side, you have courses and things that we put together, the different playbooks that you were promised in the purchase of the Black Friday. So you'll get all of the speaker launch formula playbooks that are there, along with all of the summit videos, all the summit worksheets that we did in the previous summit. And it's really incredible when I think about all of the ways that it's going to make things so much easier. So whether it's looking at your current website and what should be on the website, how you should be thinking about productizing a product for going on podcast. Podcasting is still the most underused platform for selling that is free. Doesn't cost you anything to go on a podcast, but you get what we call triple effects. You get content, which is the podcast. You get a sales opportunity and you get referrals. Every time you go on a podcast, the host is referring you to 100 people. Minimum. That's the people who listen to the podcast. So if I said, hey, would you hop on a Zoom call? I have 100 people that are in your target audience that want to hear you talk about what you talk about. What's the chances of you hopping on that Zoom call? You would do it every day, right? In the same way, that's what podcast guesting is. It's getting a referral in front of 100 or so people that want to try your services or that would be interested in your services if it solves the right problem for them. So we're really gonna, in 2025, we're doing a lot more focus on using podcasting as a stage because of one reason. In my last search in LinkedIn, there were 1.2 million speakers worldwide. In order for them to all go full time, they would need to do 20 to 30 gigs a year. So I can tell you there are not 30 million stages for speakers. There probably aren't even 1.2 million stages a year, live stages for speakers. We only found 45,000. So if you're gonna be successful at this, there's the old saying that when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. We added a line that said, but the smart people left a long time ago, right? So don't wait until it gets tough. Be the smart folks that adjust ahead of time. There's 3.5 million podcasts, right, that record weekly, which means 50 times 3.5 leaves about 150 million podcast opportunities for guesting on podcasts. There's unlimited internet for you to become a thought leader and write. Forbes doesn't have, well, we can only have 100 contributors. No, there's unlimited opportunities to be a contributor if you're a good writer, if you want to do that. So start to expand your stages and even consider building your own stage. This year we put on the Pro Speaker Summit because I felt that we needed to have our own stage in order to invite speakers on. But how cool would it be if Jasmine did a wellness summit and she brought on different people from here? Jadika's massages go well in your wellness summit. The discipline that Bart teaches goes well in the wellness summit, right? AJ did like a 90-day fast or something like that, where he only drank water for almost a year or something goofy, right? I don't know what it was. It was something like that. He could tell you the effects of fasting and what he's learned from doing these extreme types of wellness challenges. So don't be afraid to build your own stages, because those are going to be the most profitable ones. So I think we have to kind of, my goal for 2025 is to turn speakers into great business owners. So I'm just going to tell you ahead of time, if you just want to be a speaker, you're going to hate it here, right? This is going to be the worst place for you, because you're going to watch people kick your ass every day by building better businesses than what you have. And you're going to hear them talk about building stages and getting more opportunities and putting on their own events. And you're going to be sitting there saying, but I just want to get paid to show up. And you're going to be losing to the people who are getting paid to show up, getting paid when they show up, and getting paid when they leave, meaning before, during, and after those events. So that's our goal. We're going to even bring AJ in one day to talk about how he does 6 figures from events with 12 people, right? You don't have to put on a big conference. You can rent out an Airbnb, invite 10 people, and still have a great event. So I think we have to expand what we mean by speaking, and allow the message to become more important than our egos and the pats on the back. I've come to the conclusion that the speakers who believe that their message is more important, when the message becomes more important than the messenger, everything changes, right? When we think, oh, I only want to do it because it has this many people, that's ego. That's all that is. That's just ego. Well, I'm only going to do it if they pay me. I'm worth this. Cool. Okay, I don't know what to tell you. High five. Like, I'm not going to fight with you. But my biggest thing is I want to get more people on stages, because my mission is to combat the negative messages, and at all costs, promote positive messages out into the world and to amplify the voices of those who want to be amplified. So looking at going into 2025, trying to get as many people on stage as possible, whether that's a podcast, a local association, a conference, a press coverage. We will be adding corporate in 2025. That's already in testing. So we'll be adding corporate, but probably the most profitable stage will be your own, right? And teaching you how to build a regular stage. Jadika said something that maybe 2 months ago that I thought was incredible. Bart, yeah, I'll get to you 1 second. She said something that was incredible. She says, hey, I love your daily meetings. I'm still in that. And I said, steal it, because it wasn't my idea either. I stole it from somebody, right? So, but what she's basically saying is that she's going to create her own stage where people can meet with her weekly to answer questions or to ask questions or whatever. And I think we have to start thinking of it. We got to stop asking for permission, right? We got to stop asking for permission and start creating our own marketing. I'm going to come back to the marketing thing. Bart, what's your question?
I just wanted you, I heard you say corporate, and I just wanted to hear what you meant by corporate versus what I think you meant by corporate.
Yeah. So, most companies bring in speakers, or they're looking for consultants in some way. But if you don't have a product, you're going to find that very frustrating, right? Because you're going to be reaching out to a company with 15 employees that could use you as a consultant, but you're going to pitch them to come and give a speech, and they're going to laugh at you, right? Or you're going to reach out to Netflix and you're going to try to tell them that you can do consulting for them. And they're like, no, we'll just let you come talk to one of our employee resource groups, right? So there's different methodologies to doing corporate. If I can't get you to pitch, it don't matter what data we give you, right? So it's like, if you're not eating the low hanging fruit, you're not going to get the hardest fruit. That makes sense? So it's really about us. Our job as a company is to instill behavior change. So we're going to give you the right people. We're going to give you
Young man, you are not.
she's about to kill somebody. That must be her grandson. He's about to get a whooping. And she was so respectful. You know, my mom would have said, hey, you love mother. She said, young man. Okay, let me stop being funny. All right. But on the corporate side, we want to be able to make sure that you're prepared for that. Yeah, so we have some partners that we've done corporate consulting training with in the past that we know it works. We've booked a lot of corporate consulting and corporate outreach. We've done a lot of that. So we'll be adding those sparingly, testing it out in some ways with some people. But let me go back to I forgot what we was talking about. I said I was gonna come back to it. I don't remember what it was.
Something.
You're going to come back to marketing.
Oh yeah, marketing, right? Right. So yeah, I want to talk about that, right? So how successful would a business be without a marketing budget? Right? If there was no marketing budget for any business, do you think McDonald's would be McDonald's without a marketing budget? No, right? And what we do here is sales, right? We're in the cold outreach sales business, right? But marketing is, well, let me back up. Advertising is telling people what you do. Marketing is asking the people who know what you do from your advertising to raise their hand if they need your product. Sales is meeting with those people that raise their hand. Does that make sense? So when you do cold outreach, you're kind of advertising. You're telling people, "Hey, I'm a speaker in this area." You're getting them to reply, which is asking them to take action. Reply to this email. They raise their hand. They want to meet with you about the speaking gig, and then you hop on the call. That's when you do the sales meeting. The issue that we found with most speakers is that they've never understood the advertising, marketing, and sales process. So every time you go on a podcast, that is advertising to the world that you do consulting and speaking, right? The more you do it, the better off you are, right? The more people know about you. How do I know? Because I live it. As I got better at it, I learned to have better calls to action. I learned to become a better marketer on the podcast that I go on, right? So that when I get a sales meeting, let me show you an example of this. Here's, where's my LinkedIn? Let me just go here. Right. So I come in here and yesterday I got this message. Hey, I listened to you on Chantel's podcast on YouTube. It was great. It was a great teaching on using LinkedIn to reach potential customers. How do I engage you for your services in order to get me more paid speaking gigs? So I did the advertising by going on the podcast 2 years ago. That podcast is from 2023. 2 years ago, January 2023 is when I went on that podcast, right? It's still generating leads for me today. So I had a marketing message in there. So they came and found me on LinkedIn. So that was my call to action. Now I had to go into sales mode. You notice I sold him what he wanted. He asked about how does he engage with services. You notice I didn't reply, hey, I'm the CEO of Speaker Hub. Go to Speaker Hub and learn about this and that. No, I'm closing. Here's my calendar. Let's get on this call. I got to get that sales call because that's what he wants. Now, on the call, I will go into what I do with SpeakerHub, but this is just regular results that we get all the time. Here's another one. Someone else introduced me to someone else, right? Why? Because when people ask, what do? If you know anybody that wants to get podcast guesting, paid speaking gigs, or press coverage, introduce me. So Josh introduced me to this guy named Andrew. This is what we learned. This is what we'll be teaching you about inbound and outbound, the outside circles of the speaker flywheel. If you don't have your inbound right, you can't do outbound. Now, let me show you a great example of this. Here's another guy who said, hey, I saw you someone saw me on a, what was the person? This guy. Wait, hold on. Saw you on YouTube. Do you have an hour consulting package? Right? And look what he said, man, my bad. I didn't think you was going to reply so quick. Perfect. That's what I need, right? So I was going to show you something else, but I can't. Oh, here it is here, right? Someone says, hey, I noticed you were friends with this person. I'm impressed with the work you're doing at SpeakerHub. So she ended up setting a meeting with me, right, for Friday. And we had a great meeting. I mean, it was really cool. Now, why is that important? Because she saw on LinkedIn that I worked at SpeakerHub, but she saw one of her friends was one of my customers. If I don't have it out there of what I do, if my inbound isn't set up properly, it doesn't matter what I do outbound. So we're going to go through that. Again, you advertise, tell people what you do. You market by telling those who are interested to raise their hand. You sell by asking those who raise their hand to meet with you to take the next step. That's what we're going to be teaching over and over and over. If that ain't what you want to do, please go subscribe to some other software company because this is how you make money, right? And it applies not only to your speaking business, but to everything that you sell, right? So people ask me all the time, what podcast should I go on? Anybody that will interview you, all of them should go on all of them. Why? Because you don't have a problem with being known and liked. I mean, liked and trusted. You have a problem with being known. Nobody knows you. I was talking with AJ this weekend, and he was watching a video from a guy named Alex Hormozy, and Alex Hormozy has 26,000 five-star reviews on his book. And he said, the funny thing is that on our email list, 50% of them don't even know that I wrote a book. And he's written 4, right? 50% of the people don't even know he wrote a book. But yet he has, you would think with 26,000 five-star reviews and over 1 million copies sold, people would know that he wrote a book, but they don't. So a lot of us are just unknown, right? People just don't know what we do, or they need to be reminded. So Tanya, good to see you. It's always good to see you. Any new results from your pitching over the last couple of weeks?
No, I had a death in family, so I've been out of commission.
I'm sorry to hear
And
that.
yeah, so I
Condolences
just
to you
got
and your
back.
family.
Thank you. Just got back, and I'm responding to a lot of requests right now for podcasts. And I'm getting some. I forgot the guy by the name that does the pitches. What's his name? On your team?
Oh, Kamanzi.
Kamanzi, because I was asking him about training, and I just couldn't make the training time, so I'll reach back out to him. But I'm gonna get back on it as this is a quiet week here, and I'll be doing some things to kind of strategize.
So all the things with Kamanzi, they're recorded live on Friday, but he has recordings. So you can just go back and watch the recordings if you can't make the live Friday.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay, so
Yeah,
I need to ask him for recording. Okay.
Yeah, he'll give you access to the recordings.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Yeah, I need to talk with him because we need to figure out a way that we can get more people access to those things.
Yeah, I want that because it is I do have some podcasts scheduled for the top of the year and some speaking engagement, but it's definitely a great strategy to put into your plan for 2025.
Yep.
So,
So let me ask you this. Let's talk about that, right? In the last few minutes. We're about to go into overtime, guys. In 2 minutes, it'll be overtime, but I'm here. I'm free to talk as long as y'all want to stay today. So how many of you all map out what you want for the year? Like, okay, this year I need to have this many podcasts in January, or I need this many in February. I want to have this many speaking gigs on a monthly basis, right?
yep.
And have you calculated how many pitches it will take to get there?
How many
Right?
pitches?
Okay. So let me give you the numbers. So Jasmine, how many pitches? I mean, how many speaking gigs do you want to do next year?
I'll do it monthly. I started doing that last night, so I'd like to go at least 4 podcasts for the month, 2 association, and a conference.
Okay, right. So here's the one thing you got.
Not for the year, you know. That's not for the year. That's for the month.
No, I got it. I got you.
Okay.
Right? So because of the way that conferences are scheduled, if your goal is to be on 12 conferences in 2025, is that the goal?
Sorry. Okay. I'm not 12 conferences because I looked at the numbers you had there. If I do my 4 podcasts and 2 associations in every month, and I have the 4 conferences for the year, you know, I think I upped it to 6 for the year. That's what I'm hoping for. You know, if you shoot for the moon, if you shoot for the moon, you might land on the sky. So if I say I want 6, I'm hoping to, you know, solid 4, right?
Okay.
So that's what I would like, but I want the month to be filled with podcast and association and some media in between.
Okay. So let's talk about conferences. So if you're pitching conferences right now, how many will you have in the first quarter?
Well, I've only seen for the first quarter, I've seen probably 4 that said spring.
Right.
That started at spring.
So actually you'll have 0 in the first quarter.
Right, 0.
0.
So you'll have the first quarter is the winter cycle, right? Because we call it first quarter is in January to March.
Yeah, January to March, you're going to have 0 conferences.
Yes.
March to April, you may get 1, but you probably have 0.
That's why I say spring.
April to June, have 0 also. Because conferences book 6 months out.
They're already booked for the first quarter already.
Yep. First quarter, second quarter, probably gone. So your 6 conferences, you're going to have to do in the fall and the winter.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, let me tell you why that's important. Because if you don't have the right expectations of when things happen, you will say that the system doesn't work.
Right.
But in reality, it's just that the pitching season has passed for there's plenty of artists, right? And last week we brought here, let me bring this back again. I'm going to share my screen.
Yep.
So that harvesting time is really, really, really important because you're going to think that you're doing a bad job. Right? So can you see my screen here?
Yeah.
Right. So that's not the right one. 1 second. Well, I got to bring up the right page. It is. Was it? Okay, here it is right here. Right? Time investment for thought leaders. All right. So let's look at this here. This is what's really important. So I'm just going to come down to the chart here. And the most important thing on here is this thing that says time Zoom out. I did put it on there. Okay. We just got to look down here at the bottom there. So speaking is time to book, right? Some people sign up, I had 7 days, I didn't get booked for no conferences. And I'm like, yeah, don't renew your trial, please. Keep going. Right? Or come to the training so we can teach you, because the expectations are a bit out. And if you don't have those expectations right, it becomes really bad, because you're not giving yourself a chance, right? So but you should be summer and fall conferences right now. Spring and winter conferences, they're already booked. Their people, right? But in the meantime, what are you going to do? You should be reaching out
Yeah.
to the local association. in December, it's too late. They've already made their decision who's going to present this fund. But they probably haven't decided for January, February. Or even if they decided for January, they probably decided February or March. So I can push to get my association gigs booked for the first quarter.
Right.
That's why I
And-
get the urgency, right? And in the meantime, while I'm waiting on them, I need to be killing my
Okay.
podcast.
Right.
Right? Because I got to keep momentum going so I can get those leads coming in that you saw me have coming in.
Right.
Right? Because it's not shown that good that you're unknown. And it's one thing to be unknown than to be unknown and to be off schedule. That's really because now you're gonna kill yourself thinking, oh man, I'm not good enough, or speaker hub doesn't work. And I'm like, no, we know it works because we do that for you. We say it for you. Exactly. We have timing right. So everybody that we're pitching for right now, we're pitching summer and fall gigs.
Right.
Right. And the sponsors on average right now, we're getting 1 out of 15 coverage that we pitch for our 40 folks. They're getting a back. Some of them already tell us they're booking 2026.
Right.
Right.
You're absolutely right about the stage. I'm supposed to do one on Thursday. Hell, they gave me 3 notice. You're absolutely right.
It's on my schedule. It's beautiful that way. Because now your patients go from meeting, but no brother says, okay, that, but no, do this happening. And cast, and if
That it's confirmed.
just this, and it's you to the way put them on tap, and then or it's so you can type
Can I do a
SCS,
search for it? Yeah.
right? And
Okay.
then okay.
And is there a way that I can put a little note on it, like I have done in the past?
Yep. So go over to archive.
Oh, archive. Okay.
Yep. And then I'll go on details. Right. Then you can put the notes down under the bottom.
But is there a way that I can, I put it in myself. This is a, let's see. But I know that there's a way.
Yeah. So you want to notify us?
Yeah, so that it gets
Okay.
as an association.
Yeah,
right?
that's They hold their own events. I mean, sometimes the businesses host their own events or they run an association.
Okay, I just realized it.
So we get you what we, for lack of better words, what we call gun to the head certainty, right? If somebody said, if you don't do this, we're gonna do this. What level of certainty do you have in your current plan? And we want you to have that certainty. Any other questions? Is that our Maria or is that a different Maria? I don't know which Maria that is. Maybe that's a different Maria. And we got espionage here.
Ron, can I get that list you showed us with the timelines? Like, because I've done when the email I got one at the conference I'd be told you leave.
I want to give you a way to make sure that you're pitching the right people. So you open up Speaker Hub. It's the third tab at the top.
This is how I'm gonna move you guys around. There. Press off.
And the conference is there.
Conferences. Yeah.
And click on the filters. And then see seasons.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead and put that into summer.
Oh, I put spring.
No,
Okay.
you don't want it to be spring because that's coming up in the first quarter. You're not going to get any of those. You want it to be summer at least.
So it goes to summer. Yeah.
It goes all the way down. Yeah, it goes all the way to winter, but just do
Did I
summer.
hit
And
filter again?
Yep.
Do I put in like say
No,
Canada here?
you can, but you see it's already bringing up. Now I just wanted to demonstrate this. So you see underneath the title now it tells you the season, summer. You see that?
Let me move you again. I'm going to move you out of the way again. Where I see conferences.
Underneath the title of the conference there.
This one? Oh, yeah,
Says-
summer.
Yep.
Summer.
And then when you click on it, we'll tell you the month. So click on the title.
Okay. Obviously, I didn't finish sending that pitch. I was going to pitch that.
So you can see this one starts in September. It's a September conference,
Yeah.
right? So that season toggle is really, really, really important.
Yeah. See,
Right.
some of them I have summer under there.
No,
Already?
they all will have the season underneath. We put a season for each one.
Okay. You know what I find is helpful in my searches? You see what it says recommended searches?
Uh-huh.
And if I wanted to, I go through and I mix it up. If I see I'm coming down with so today I clicked on health podcast for Toronto. I got a whole slew of them coming up.
So let me show you something else. Right there in that filter, there's a thing that says show only uncontacted.
Yes.
Click there and it takes all the ones you've already reached out to off of the list. Hit filter.
So hit filter, yeah.
So now those orange ones go away and it's only going to show the search results from that same topic that are not, that you haven't reached out to yet.
Oh yeah.
Does that
Awesome.
make sense?
Makes sense. So because I click summer over there, it's going to show me all these, right?
Yeah, those are summer. Yeah, because you set it to where it only shows the summer ones.
I get excited. In my real estate world, I used to love it when I pass and I see new construction going up. I used to get like, ooh, doesn't mean
Yeah.
anything. It's just they're just digging the dirt. But I go,
Hey, Maria, do you know how we set a timer for podcasts to only show podcasts that have published in the last 60 days? We had a conversation about changing the seasons because right now it is winter in the United States, but it is spring here in Colombia. Depending on what area of the world you're in, it gives you the seasons are different. So we need to change the seasons from January to March, April to June, June to September or October to December. We had talked about that, changing that toggle. That needs to be updated because the seasons are different depending on which hemisphere you're in the world, whether you're in the north, south, east, or western hemisphere. And I think that would be more accurate. So number one, we need to change the drop down labels from summer, winter, spring, summer, fall to January to March, whatever, because they're all based on northern western hemisphere dates in the US right now. But what we need to also do is by default show 2 seasons ahead. So it should always show 6 months ahead of where we are. So if I'm in December, we should only be showing things that are from June to July by default. And then the person can come in and make the adjustments. That way it removes them having to go in and know about this toggle. It'll automatically show them the pitches that they should be sending in the correct track or the correct season. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, it makes sense.
So
conferences alone or podcasts as well?
No, podcasts are weekly. This is just for conferences.
Okay.
So I think that's a good thing. So number one, change the seasons to quarterly months, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, things like that. And then make sure that we're always 2 quarters ahead.
Okay, perfect.
And if you can, I think if you draw it up, it's a lot easier than them remembering it. So if you just do a re mock-up of what it should be, they're a lot more, 50% of the work is already done as far as letting them know that I've approved it.
Okay, okay, makes sense.
Thank
Perfect.
you. But no, guys, thanks for your time today. If you all don't have any other questions, it's this type of, I always give a high five to our team because it's this type of live wire updating that we get from watching these things and doing different things. We're promising to give you the best opportunity to get booked. And hopefully you feel like you're in the right place as we keep going, whether you're a support staff for one of our speakers or whether you're the chief bottle washer and CEO of your own speaking business, meaning you're doing all the jobs. Also, Bart, thank you for the introduction to your coworker. Man, I've never met a person that was more exciting. I can't think of her. She works for the IRS now. Tiffany. Is it Tiffany Maurice?
You're right.
Yeah, Tiffany Maurice. What an exciting person to talk to. I was on the phone with her and she was like, well, I'm just telling you, I'm about to kill this. This is gonna be the best thing ever. And she talked about how you convinced her to do it. You was like, she was doubtful at first. She was like, hey, ain't there's nothing easier that's gonna make this easier. You're like, just try it, I promise you. And we had a really great conversation. We had it scheduled for 15 minutes. We talked for about an hour and a half, just about how excited she was about the work that she's doing on top of having a full-time job. So right. Bart, I got something special for you. I know you're on our middle plan, but that's the one that you have. We're gonna upgrade you to the one above.
All right.
So you'll get upgraded to the 400 pitches a month for the great referral to Tiffany. Those are the types of referrals we need. So I wanted to speak up. Actually, Melissa, what'd she say? Oh, there it is. Perfect. That is it.
Yeah, I gotta say, Ron, I mean, notwithstanding the fact that I sent about 40 follow-ups yesterday, none of which went out. I mean, I scheduled to go out at 8 a.m. and none of them went out because of the glitch. I have sent more pitches in the past week than I have in the past year because it makes it so easy. It's just like, it's just so easy. And it's also, I mean, I've put together templates before. I put together a lot of templates where it's like copy and paste and copy and paste and copy and paste. So that makes it relatively easy. But this makes it so much easier because it customizes it for me. And yeah, I go in and I tweak things, but it just, and it's also, you know, I don't know about everybody else, but the hardest thing about pitching and follow-up, it's the emotional part. And there's something about the AI doing that part for me that all I have to do is click a button and read through what the AI says and make a couple of tweaks. And there's always tweaks to be made because the AI is going to do things like, you know, American Association of University Women, parentheses, AAUW, Porterville chapter, like that has to change in the subject line because it looks too much like a robot. So it's things like that. It's like I have to tweak things like that. But it's just like, oh my God. And every 10th or 15th email I have to rewrite because it's too robotic sounding. But other than that, just a few little tweaks. And so I'm able to detach myself from the you know, oh my God, push. And I'm in the process of putting together the protocols for my VA to do this stuff for me so that they can do it and I can rest assured that they're going to be able to do it and sound like me and be discerning and make the right decisions. Because, Ron, it's not a half an hour a day. Let's be honest. With the listening to the podcasts so that I can customize the podcasts and doing all the pitches and all the follow-up, it's not a half an hour a day. But still, like, I want to send my, you know, at least 400 initial outreaches and all the follow-up every single day. And if I get a VA to do that for me, game over. Like, this is the first time that I've actually felt like this is doable. So I really commend you.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. And we take the feedback, right? One of the cool things that we're going to be doing to improve the email base is we have a record of every email that you sent, right? So in the first quarter of next year, we'll be able to take those emails that you sent that you approved because you wrote it and you've added it to it. It will be able to write more emails like you want, but we need that data set first. If you haven't sent any pictures, we don't have a data set in order to determine what your voice is. So we can look at the successful pictures that you sent, use that as our data set. Because let me tell you what happened. I'll give you a little technical background. OpenAI has a thing called agents. Right? And for each individual user of Speaker Hub Pro, PitchDB, PR Pitches, all of our software, we created your own agent that stores your bio and everything of that sort. The only thing we haven't added were the emails that you sent, because no, when you first start off, you haven't sent anything, right? In the fall, we will be adding those emails to that data set. To be able to write emails that we think you would approve. But if we don't have the data set at the beginning, we can't do it. So just step by step. We had a meeting this morning. I wanted to make sure that our team understood that AI is not a feature of a product. AI is something that you integrate that should be seamless, that doesn't feel like it's AI. It should be like, oh, they already thought through this. It should just work. You shouldn't have to go in and prompt it and upload your own emails to teach it how to do something. No, just send, make corrections, send, and then all of a sudden you see the better results, right? So we're relying on you all to do your part, and we're going to do our part on the backside to make sure that we keep getting this list. Our first meeting last week, I was a bit out like because the only morning already has secure account. And what did they like this week? That's just how I heard it. That was how the AI wrote it to be. Well, I'm glad it's fine, and we're going to be able to get the 1.9 part Actually, I never suggested that my own pitch because you have time I could have reject you.
So let me ask you, Ron, if you pitch, are you using AI to craft a pitch for you?
Yeah, I mean, I actually do something than that. The AI was really designed to be confidence on your own. So you like on the side here.
The reason that I ask is because I have led watching podcasts done on having my so say, I listened to you episode, yeah, I love your podcast, especially episode blah blah blah, where so and so said, you know, I was especially struck by the insight that so and so said, which requires somebody to listen to part, at least part of the podcast and ask something to say or run the and
What do you think is yellow? Yeah, I listen. These are asking me 3 days about which is
yes. Wow. So simple.
but people don't have that confidence. They believe that they gotta show their gotta tell them this, gotta tell them that. And I'm like, yes, they know that. So we created the AI to do it. Now I book speaking gigs with less, but nobody believes it. So we say, well, look, some people don't believe that, but default we still come emails. They say and so we this is the exception. Right? And the person was our so these are just, you know, they are. You know, Jasmine there that responded back. Hey, we would love to have. Here's the link. This was our email. Are you looking for speakers? We didn't tell them anything about John or anything. If they want to know about him, they click over to the website. Right? But everybody thinks they do write a long thing, had all that stuff. But I'm in the business. I got to do 2 things. I get to work and I got to sell stuff. And if in order to sell you stuff, I got to add all this stuff. I'll add it, and then on the backside correct it. But it doesn't work if I tell you this. Like, I'm buying, I go be him. Just dumb it down as I get you in, right? So this has worked. And then we look at those 20 people. How many people, right? They didn't even care about clicking over to see what he was doing, right? Now, I show you another person. Cheating. Cheating is another example with conferences and universities. With cheating, we said advertising is telling people that I'm a speaker. Marketing is telling the people that are interested in speakers to raise their hand. His job was to do the sales part. Once they raise their hand, ask them for the meeting. Right? So if you look at the first line, we by default just made this the first line of every conference email. You're the person in charge. Because we had to override. We said, put this up front, put their insecurities at the bottom. And that's a bad way to say it, but that's really what was my thought process. Put the thing we know that works as the first line. Are you the person in charge? I do this thing. And then let them put whatever other. I wrote a best-selling book. I tap dance. I eat tacos. Put all that stuff underneath because it don't even matter.
Ron, do you do the same thing for media?
So on media, it's a bit different because media, you actually have to show proof before they'll respond back to you, right? So you have to have a relevant pitch for the media side. So Kamanzi is the best person around media. And he wrote the pitch that's in there for media. That's probably the best pitch for media because you have to show articles that you've written before.
So, and do you need to also have an idea, a specific idea for each media that you're pitching to?
No, because the editors will have ideas that they want written about. That do you see what I mean? So you can pitch a story, but you can also, the editors will have topics that they want, right? So if we go in here right now, Kamanzi just posted this just yesterday, talking about the people that are large publications that are looking for stories right now, and he posted the things that they're looking for. Right, so he's looking for relationship pitches. This one is looking for, I can't see them, but scary mom essay pitches. Right, he posted in the group. So if you want Angela to add you to the group, she can add you to our private group where we post all of these pitches in there. That's what Tanya was asking about. But yeah, so Kamanzi run this for us. We're a partner in this business. So yeah, that's what this is
So
about.
I'm looking at the template and it says examples, but it also says 1 to 3 potential articles you could write for that publication.
Yeah,
but I could just
so those
discuss
are,
that.
those are different topics, but at the same time, that's if you're doing a blind pitch without an article request. Like where you're just trying to show them what you write about. And different publications want different things. Some of them only want listicles because they're trying to sell product. Like CNET is always gonna, they make their money off of affiliate links in your articles. So they want a different style article than Business Insider. So the best thing to do is to join the group and let Kamanzi walk you through those things. But moral of the story is that we've done so many pitches that we know what works and doesn't work, but it's hard to open up to people, right? I don't want to tell you what's worked in the past, it doesn't work anymore, but I can just show you the proof of what we know works, right? And then from that point, it's up to you to take it from there. But yeah, so that's, we look here, I can show you, this is a campaign that we're working on now. 483 leads have been sent, even with the open rate. The guy's status still gets us 1 out of every, I don't know how many pitches that is, not a lot. 1 out of every 7 gets a reply back. Right? So, if we go down to Alex or, we're in conference with Alex, we have some different things that are running from with follow-ups, but 50% open, 76% open rate. So when people say, oh, well, this data isn't good, well, how are we getting 6% open rates? We're sending to the same exact emails, right? You know why we use that formula for your photo? Because that's what works. We do it for all of our clients. We use that same setup on purpose. Why do I use it for everyone else? Because that's worked for me. Make sense? So,
Melissa, oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I put the link to the PR Pitches Facebook group in the chat. So go over there and request to join, and then Kamanzi will reach out to me and say, do you know Melissa? And I'll say, yes, she's
Okay,
good
thank
at that.
you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Janessa, question?
Yes, hi. I was just pitching now, and then let me lower my hand. Let me share. So this keeps popping up.
Okay. Okay, so can you go to your email accounts? Did you click on there? Right, and then go ahead and click connect new account. And just reconnect again.
Oh.
And let me know when you're reconnected. It should give us a green notification at the bottom of the screen. And Jasmine, your question?
Can I just have you, this was one of the responses I got back right away.
And you give me 1 second. Let me make sure Janessa gets her email connected, and then we'll be able to share your screen instead. Did it get connected, Janessa, or no?
It's still loading.
The Google page is still loading?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you do me a favor? Can you go ahead and close that? right? And then click on your name on the right and go ahead and log out. And then log back in. Right, now click on your name in the right corner again. And go to settings and emails. And go ahead and connect the account again. And go ahead and select send emails on my behalf. There you go. So you're ready to go now. You see the green thing in the bottom right corner?
Yeah, I saw it. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, yep, no problem. Jasmine, what's your
Yes,
question?
I'm going to read. I hope you can hear me clearly, right? This is one of the reply I got back right away when I just started. And he wanted my understanding that he want me to pay to go on, right? So you said, oh, forget them. So I didn't follow up. So he just followed up with me right now. But this is the email he sent me. I'm going to read it to you. You can tell me if it's, what precisely says. Just explain. Hi, Jasmine. Thanks for getting in touch. Just explain all our shows on the C-Suite podcast are paid for partnerships, where guests provide by their partners each episode, or we invite them on their behalf to join a panel discussion, or if they are speaking at a conference that we're producing content from, as we did recently in Money 2020. We can then record a dedicated show for you, but your company would have to pay for it to be produced. We can then create a profile.
You don't have to read anything else. Just say next. Go to the next one. He's trying to sell you on paying to produce a podcast on his thing. Just pick somebody else.
Yeah?
Go on a free one.
He just followed up again with me to see if I'm interested.
Oh, I respect him because he's selling, right?
Huh?
Because he's selling. I respect.
I was going to say thank you very much. Not at this time, just to,
Yeah, just say,
don't burn
hey,
the
not at
bridge.
this time. Yeah, just say not at this time. Maybe in 2026.
Yes. Okay. All righty. Well, that was good. I am going to hit the road. I have tons of follow-up to do today. I mean, email follow-ups. And
No, it's incredible.
you know what I
noticed? A lot of great opportunity, guys.
Pardon me?
No, I said a lot of great opportunity out here, guys.
Yeah.
Here's the one thing we know. The data from a company called SpeakerFlow, they did a thing called the State of the Speakers Union. They do it every year. And only 14% of speakers do outreach.
Wow.
Right? 80% of speakers are waiting on referrals, which is why you cannot grow a business only on repeat business. Because once you got to put something new to get that to repeat also, right? So most speakers stagnate out because they're not doing the outreach. So we have people like Doris that says, my repeat business is strong, but I'm only doing 30 gigs a year. I want to get to 50. And the only way to get to 50 is to go and pitch to add those other 20 on top of it. And I'm like, Doris, you get it. So that's why Doris is always in pitching, because she's already doing 30 gigs a year and she wants to get to 50, but she can't get to 50 if she just keeps talking to the same 30, right? There's going to be churn and erosion of people who won't bring her back. So she has to make up for them and add the new ones. That's how you grow a business. So we're going to help you guys. We're going to help you to do it. Keep pitching. Keep pitching.
Yeah.
This is the secret weapon. Nobody else is doing it, right? Everybody else is waiting to be chosen.
You know what, Rob? I had a plan for how I was going to do pitching when I went to the Influence, the National Speakers Association conference in July or whatever. And I had this plan for what I was going to do, and it felt like it was going to be such a slog. And then this came along, and I was like, this is so much easier.
There it is. Especially if people are replying to you. That's the point.
Yeah. Well, so far I've just gotten, this email no longer exists, or I'm no longer with this association or whatever, but I have gotten some, something. So I just started. So
Are you using the entire flywheel, or are you only pitching certain groups?
The only thing I haven't pitched yet is media, because I thought I was under the impression that I needed to look at every media, magazine or whatever, and pitch them an idea. And I've got, I mean, they're old, but I have article links, and I've got a template with article links that I can put in there. If I don't have to say, here's an idea of an article and a title and everything, if I don't have to do that, then I can start pitching media right away.
Yeah. Get in that group, and Kamanji will walk you through all of that.
Okay. Because I've been pitching associations, podcasts, and conferences like crazy. So doing that.
Yeah, he'll get you going on the media side. I mean, usually within 45 days you can have a column someplace if you just follow what he says. And they pay $1 per word.
Nice. Getting paid.
I mean, it could be up to $2 per word, but it's a minimum $1 a word.
Cool.
Yep. Any other questions before we go?
Yeah, just a little bit of insight on the email. With AI, I've been doing this AI thing with another company for like a year now, so in training and whatever, clone myself, whatever. But anyway, I noticed on the platform that I tweaked a little bit, just inserted something. It was something holistic, so I said, my name is Jasmine Dennis, and I just added a certified herbalist and on a holistic point of view. And do you know a couple of email AI, because it now gets used to my bio, and the little tweak I did, it added that in a few of my emails that were, because it's getting to understand. I'm training the AI in how it's getting to understand. Like I say, it can be one line, but certain things you just want to insert that one little thing. If they're all doctors on that, on that podcast talking about health and wellness from a holistic point of view, I just kind of slipped that in there that I'm a certified herbalist.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, again, if you keep doing it, you'll find that you'll be surprised. And I love those little surprises. People are like, oh, it did this. Just go. We promise you, it's going to get so much better. And Excellent. I'm excited. No, that's a big deal. What you discovered is what we designed it to do, right? Yes. And it won't include everything you do to everybody because it doesn't believe that everything is relevant to everybody. So it will pick the relevant things to that audience. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you do wellness and in your bio it says it's for women, but you're pitching a men-focused podcast, it's not going to mention that you do it for women. The AI is smart enough to understand context and only say that you help people with wellness or whatever.
Yes.
Instead of saying women when you're pitching a male-focused podcast. So it's going to get better. The voice thing will be coming out very soon. We're just working on context and accuracy right now. So we'll be good. Carlos is
fantastic. Bye, everyone.
So talk to y'all later. Maria, thanks again for joining.
Enjoy.
Janissa, good to see you. Melissa, it's always good. Bart, always good. Thanks again for the referral. We'll get you upgraded to the next level. I really appreciate the referral.
Bye-bye.
All righty. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.